Hello learners, welcome to Postgraduate Diploma in Sustainability Science, one and only program in India offered by IGNOU. And to this course, MSD 013 Socio-Cultural System. Right. In this session of MSD 013 Socio-Cultural System, we are going to learn about concept and the meaning of human ecology. We know that the relationship between nature and the culture in human society becomes the main focus of socio-cultural system. In understanding the sustainability of biological and the socio-cultural beings, there are ways in which we conceptualize and think about the interactional pattern of behavior amongst individuals and cultures in society in their surrounding environment. So, the reflection of collective human behavioral interaction with material and non-material aspect of culture and the environmental or environment becomes the common interest of everybody who wants to see the limits and capability of nature to sustainability from various changes and threats. That's why we need to understand the concept and the genesis of human ecology behind that. Right. So, today's session we are trying to learn about the concept and the meaning of ecology. Right. When you see the term human ecology, the first stuck in our mind is ecology. What is ecology? We learn a lot about this in different sessions in this program, Postgraduate Diploma in Sustainability Science, specifically in MSD 012 Ecosystem and Natural Resources. We know that ecology is the science of relationship between living organisms and their environment. And when we talk about human ecology, our understanding is it is about relationship between people and their environment. And the term, if you precisely look into the term human ecology, which can be defined as the complex relations between people and environment, including biotic and abiotic factors you see in this figure. So, it shows that it is a study of how humans interact with their social and biophysical environment. It is the interactional pattern of humans and environment and its subsequent impact on land, climate, plants and animals, and the reciprocal impact on humans. So, human ecology in fact deals with the population shaping its environment and vice versa. Right. If you look into the core idea of human ecology, it's about adaptation, right? Adaptation itself, is the process of modification of certain systems so as to enable man to adapt to wide range of environment and conditions and adjust according to the condition. And it's a relationship, the adaptation with reference to space and time, and depends on the natural environment as well as the ability of man to adjust to that new environment. So, this adjustment brought a successful evolution of human society and culture in different regions across the world. Many societies developed through such relationship of what we call human ecology. However, besides various evolutionary changes, the development history of humankind and the society still continues. So, this is in accordance with the virtue of the nature of adaptation that the groups of people have, which are not at the same stage of evolution. So, it is in this process there remain groups of people who still follow the earliest ways of interactions and lifestyle, besides adopting the new means which brought about overlapping in the development and history of mankind society. So, this is a way to sustain, and likewise man undergoes several relationship the relationship with process of adaptation. So, this relationship become complex in different ecological needs because of the complex nature of culture. So, this brought a considerable effect to the biology of man and his evolution into society. Right. So, some of this adaptation are expressed in terms of modification of body size and the shape which later on gets inherited. For example, if you look into the hunter-gatherer of Arctic regions, you will see they have short limbs and compact bulky body size that helps them to keep the body warm for a longer time. While if you look in East African people, they have long limb and greater body surface that help in dissipating the body heat. So the African people maintain a fair body temperature through sweating, and same is the case with the IGNOU people. This adjustment with nature brought certain changes in the blood vessels of the body. So they contribute adaptation by different processes like body type, houses, sweating, etc. to protect them from the environment. You will see in this figure that shows the different body size and shapes reflect that genetic adaptation to climate. Again, if you look to the term human ecology, or if you look into the what exactly human ecology, in that human study of human ecology, the environment is perceived as an ecosystem. Now, when we talk about ecosystem, it can be of any size. A small pond in a forest, that is also an ecosystem. The entire forest is also an ecosystem. A single farm is also an ecosystem, or a rural landscape is also an ecosystem. Villages, towns, large cities, they are ecosystem. So a region of thousands of square kilometers is also an ecosystem. The entire planet can be taken as an ecosystem. Although humans are part of the ecosystem, it is very useful to think of human-environment interaction as interaction between the human social and the rest of the ecosystem. See here in this figure, you will see the interaction of human social system with the ecosystem, right? How it is taking place. So here the social system is everything about people, their population and psychology and social organization that shapes their behavior. So the social system is a central concept in this human ecology, because human activities that impact on ecosystem are strongly influenced by the society in which the people live. Again, this value and the knowledge that together form our worldview as individual and as a society that shape the way what or that we process and interpret information and translate into the action. So again, technology is also define our repertoire of possible action. And looking into social organization and the social institution that also specify socially acceptable behavior, shape the possibilities into what we actually do. Like an ecosystem, social system can be on any scale, from a family to the interhuman population of the planet. In the same time, we know that the ecosystem provides services to the social system by moving material, energy, and information to the social system to meet people's needs. So this ecosystem services, as we know, that it includes water, fuel, food materials for clothing, construction materials, and recreation. So the movements of materials are obvious, energy transformation are less so. Every material object contains energy. Most conspicuous is in foods and fuels, and every object contains information in the way it is structured or organized. So information can move from ecosystem to the social system independent of materials. A hunter discovery of his prey, a farmer's observation of his field, a city dweller's assessment of traffic when crossing the street, and a refreshing walk in the woods. These all transfer of information from ecosystem to social system. So material, energy, and information move from social system to the ecosystem as a consequence of human activities that impact the ecosystem. People affect ecosystem when they use resources like such as water, fish, timber, and livestock grazing land. So after using materials from ecosystem, people return the material to ecosystem as a waste. So people intentionally modify or reorganize existing ecosystem or create new ones to better serve. So with machines or human labor, people use energy to modify or create ecosystem by moving material within them or between them. They transfer information from social system to the ecosystem. Whenever they modify, when they reorganize or create an ecosystem. For example, the crop that a farmer plants the spacing of plants in the field, alteration of the field's biological community by weeding, and modification of soil chemistry with fertilizer application are not only material transfer, but also information transfer as a farmer restructured the organization of his ecosystem. So, in this context again you can look that human ecology from the perspective of studying people environment as social and cultural ecology. We will have differentiation in this area of social ecology and cultural ecology. But in a brief, what we can understand here in this session is social ecology is the study of man and nature from various aspects of society. It deals with roles and responsibilities of various social institutions in understanding the man-environment relationship. That is why one of the famous sociologists of India, Professor Guha, has proposed 5 basic components in social ecology which cannot be considered as separate entity. They are ecological infrastructure, as we know that, soil, water, forest, and so on. Economy, that forces of relations of production and threat. Social structure, polity, culture, right. So, the social ecology is environmental oriented. Sociology's idea of environment, it has been understood as the restoration of relationship of society and environment along with the ecological aspect. In that way, Guha addresses 4 important issues in the study of reciprocal relations between ecological infrastructure and other 4 points mentioned that what he has proposed. He also stresses on ecological conflicts, the use and abuses that society has inflicted upon the class and princes, institutional roles in man-nature interaction and cultural influences. Thus, in that way, social ecology emphasizes on the need for harmonizing various social institutions to bring man-nature interaction meaningful. In fact, this is not exactly different from the ecology dealt by anthropologists or what is called as cultural ecology, which we will discuss later on. So, these 2 terms of that social ecology and this cultural ecology and its component are part and parcel of a single of understanding the relationship of environment, as we so called as in this session human ecology. So, the point is we have to understand the human ecology from the point of the transfer of material energy information from that natural environment or to the social environment, right. Some of the examples of social system ecosystem interaction is, as I told you, when human ecology analyzes the consequences of human activities, and when we are trying to understand those consequences of human activities from this lens of human ecology, we will find out it as a chain of effects to the ecosystem and human social system. Some of the example is like fishing, that industrial fishing, that is that towards one part of the marine ecosystem, for example. But if you look into that, fishing has an unintended effect on other parts of the ecosystem. Those effects set in motion on series of additional effects that go back and forth between the system. You will find out in this set of effects through ecosystem social system that exists in this example of that fishing is interaction between ecosystem and social system. Here you will see in this figure, right. When you talk about social system, how we are defending from the product of ecosystem. In case of fishing, we need food, fish as a food, right. How we are extracting that? By using technology, right. Then in that way you will see find out when we look into the social system, you will find out in there to have to follow that fishing. What do we have seen? We use technology. Fishermen use technology. When it comes into degradation of that particular ecosystem or that particular that fish species, we are talking about conservation of those species. Then again, if you look into there in that fish ecosystem, you will find out their food sense. When you affect a particular species, that have an impact to other species also. right? This is how social system, ecosystem are interrelated. The another example of understanding, easily understand the human ecology is one case of that cooking fuel and deforestation in India. When we look into real India, is basically the problem of deforestation that generated a chain of effect back and forth to the ecosystem, social system, is that cooking fuel and deforestation in India. You will see here in this case also, when you look into social system, when we talk about this deforestation cooking fuel in India, here for collecting the fuel from the ecosystem, means cooking fuel. Now, if you look in the social system, we have engaged a number of children, right, to gather the fuel wood. That has direct impact on human population. When population increases, demand for cooking fuel also increases. On the other side, you see ecosystem services provided in that case. We depend on that trees and there's what you can say that forest for getting those services, right, for food, cooking fuel, and so on, right. So in that way, it is when you have degradation or degradation happening in that ecosystem that have unintended impact to other system, right. Say when we have intensive collection of cooking fuel, it has a number of serious effects in the ecosystem. It explained in this figure. Using cow dung as fuel reduces the quantity of dung available for use as manure on farm fields, right? And food production declines, because when used as a fuel instead of fuel wood, if you using cow dung, then that has another impact to the fertilization in their organic manure, that manure in their field. In addition, the flow of water from the hills to irrigate farm fields during the dry season is less when hills are no longer forested. These are the unintended impact of degradation of forest due to that increase in demand of fuel wood. Again, the quality of water is worse because deforested hills no longer have trees to protect the ground from heavy rain, so soil erosion is greater, and the irrigation water contains large quantities of mud that settle in irrigation canals and clogs the canals. So this decline in quantity and quality of irrigation water reduces food production even further. So the result is poor nutrition and health for people. This chain of effects involving human population growth, deforestation, fuel shortage, and lower food production is a vicious cycle that is difficult to escape. However, looking into in this government of India's program like biogas generator, which are this kind of new technology that can help to improve such kind of situation what has happened due to demand of fuel wood. So, and now when I say a biogas generator, it is a large tank in which people place human waste, animal dung, and a plant residue to rot. The rotting process creates a large quantity of methane gas, as we know, biogas plant that's called, and this is used to cook the food, right. When the rotting is finished, the plant's animal waste in the tank can be removed and put on the farm field as fertilizers. So the initiative of government in India, by introducing these biogas generators to farm villages, then people will have methane gas for cooking, so they no longer need to collect fuel wood. You see here in this figure, the forest can grow back to provide an abundance of clean water for irrigation. After being used in biogas generator, plants and animal waste can be used to fertilize the fields. Food production will increase. People will be better nourished and healthier, and they will not need a large number of children to gather discuss cooking fuel. Right, you will easily understand from this figure. Right, that is what I exactly explain of here. Right. Then similarly, another example is the practice of sitting cultivation or zone cultivation in northeastern region of India, which is an adaptation process of cultivation to the sloping terrains of hill ranges. And this, then when we talk about sitting cultivation, if we have a quick look into the processes, this includes cultivation of crops by burning herbs, small twigs and trees, Then after cultivation for a few years, it was left fallow for 15-20 years and shifted to the other forested sites for new cultivation, then returned to the former site once again to start a cultivation process. And this also associated with the collection of food, that collection of food from forests providing year-round security, right? You will here see the exact process in this figure, what is that June cycle and cropping cycle, all right? However, this practice has become a challenge and raises the question of sustainability due to the population increase in this region. So the land becomes infertile due to its topsoil loss and reduction of nutrient values by the short cycle of 2 to 3 years, repeated cultivation instead of leaving the fallow for 15 to 20 years. So such practice of relationship becomes much more complex in the process of adaptation, what we talk about when we talk about human ecology. And same is the case with the transhuman groups, people like Guzars and the Gadis in the Himalayas, right? So from all these examples, it is quite clear that some of the adaptability criteria become absorbed, inherited, transferred to the respective society of the world community along with process of development change to such an extent that it represents one of their own. Here, mention may be made of the what we talk about African people and their body structure and composition, but it's not so on all cases of adaptation across the world. People learn the process of adaptation from others, and we call it as a cultural transmission. Almost all the adaptive processes are based on learned behavior. For example, grows learns to eat food, speak, avoid danger, protect from the environment, use tools for many activities, etc. and so on. So all this become parts of a society through the process of cultural transmission. That is where we need to understand when we are trying to learn the human ecology, explore on human ecology in that special area of human ecology from the lens of sustainability, there is a need to explore more on social ecology and cultural ecology. So this interaction process of man and environments are therefore, all these are learned under the title of human ecology. So what I want to summarize here in this session is that we know that the study of human beings and its sustainability includes biological, social, and cultural system. Adaptation provides the human beings with various modes of adjustment for survival and evolution. The natural relationship may be simple or complex depending on the ecological nature of the particular society. Why we're studying human ecology is to understand the unintended impact or chain of that impact when that environmental system, social system interact. So when we look from the lens of sustainability, the role of human ecology, understanding human ecology is highly important. With this, thank you very much. In next session, we'll look into the social ecology and then cultural ecology. Thank you very much.